Hey everyone, it's Amy and Sophia, and today I'm going to be talking about our breastfeeding journey, so stay tuned. So yes, it is 100% possible to breastfeed your adopted baby. Now, when I say that, there are different degrees of what people think success is. For me, success was being able to give my baby a little bit of nourishment and to have that bonding experience and just a life experience that I've always wanted to have as a mother. And that's exactly what I got out of it. I guess let me start from the beginning. When I was pregnant with my son, I gave birth to him, and probably within 3 days, I had a full supply of milk. Oh, bless you. Goodness. My son passed away, and so I didn't need my milk is what I thought. And so I started the process of trying to get myself to dry up. And it was extremely emotional for me. It was very sad. And it took a long time. And anytime I was around another baby, if I went to Walmart or to Hobby Lobby, I would just start leaking everywhere, soaking my clothes through nursing pads. It was one of the most heartbreaking things in my entire life. Shortly after he passed away, we decided to adopt a baby girl. And so at that point, I was still making milk. I wasn't actively trying to, nurse the baby because I didn't have one, but my breasts just were still doing that. It took me a long time to dry up. I don't know what the average is, but this is like months later. I was still in that process. Yes, I was. And so he died in November. In February is when we were approved to adopt. And so at that point, I thought, I'm still making milk. I wonder if I pumped, if I could get a supply going, because at that point we didn't know how long it would take to adopt a baby. That's right, we didn't know. It could have taken a month, it could have taken 9 months, in our case it took 2 years. So I started pumping. I got a hospital grade pump from the hospital here in our town. I rented it. I pumped on a newborn schedule. And if anybody has ever done that, you know how difficult that can be. And I had talked to the La Leche League. I had talked to the hospital, and that's the advice that they told me if I wanted to try and relactate, because for me, that's what I was doing. I needed to do it on a newborn schedule because I would be feeding a newborn baby. So I literally pumped my breast for about 15 minutes every 2 hours around the clock. It was hard, it was tough, but I was committed. I didn't tell a whole lot of people. This was just a private journey. Obviously Scott knew about it and he was completely on board, 100%. I basically lived on the couch topless with a pump attached to me for a long time. I ended up taking fenugreek. I took blessed thistle. I drank at least a gallon of water a day. I ate oatmeal, you name it. I researched and figured out what were, different foods that would, help produce, milk. And I ate so much oatmeal. It's a wonder I didn't turn into a horse. For me, I ended up having a full supply of milk after almost completely drying up, because at the point when I started pumping, I could hand express about 2 drops, and that was it. I was almost dried up. And so in the matter of, I would say 3 months, I was about halfway to a full supply. And so by the end of about 6 months or so, I had a full supply to the point where I would be engorged. I would have to pump at that point because I was in pain. I was constantly leaking, but I was so proud of what I had done. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, yay for mommy milk. I saved all of my milk and baggies. I got a deep freezer and I froze all my milk. I had gallons and gallons of milk. Now comes the sad part of my story. I know. we ended up having to do some traveling with Scott's parents and getting them to move from Florida to Missouri. And in that process, I couldn't pump. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Mommy tried. I know. Being around my father-in-law and in someone else's home and in airports, and this was quite a bit of traveling that we did. I couldn't pump. There was just no way. I couldn't do it. And I ended up drying up. So at this point, I have been pumping now for 18 months, a very long time. We weren't matched with her until 2 years later, and so I had a little bit of milk that I could still use for her that had been frozen, but I had so much milk that I had to throw away. I cried so hard. But that being said, when she was born and she was in the hospital, the lactation consultant actually came in. We didn't even ask for her. I don't know how she even knew about us. She showed up when I was doing kangaroo care and asked if I wanted to nurse Sophia. And I said, well, she's adopted. And at that point, the paperwork had been signed, but we haven't left the hospital. And just because it is an adoption situation, I didn't feel comfortable in the hospital nursing. Some people really look down on adoptive nursing. Some people are very, for lack of a better word, triggered by it. They think that it's not natural for an adoptive mom to nurse their adopted baby. I don't see any issues with it personally, obviously, because I'm telling my story. I didn't nurse in the hospital. As soon as I got home, I put her to the breast and she latched on and enjoyed it. When I dried up this time, there was nothing left. I had no milk left to give her unless it was through a supplemental nursing system like an SNS, or what I used is called a lactate, and basically it was a little baggie and you put the milk or the formula or the breast milk in here that you want to feed your baby. It has a little string on it, basically it's a little tube, and I would basically stick it in my bra and warm it up. And then, I would take my nursing bra down and this would go up against your nipple, the little tube. The baby would latch on and they would be able to, nurse what milk you could give them from your breast and then whatever milk you had put into this bag. And so she loved this in the beginning. As she got a little bit older, she didn't want to use the nursing system. She just wanted my skin. And so our nursing relationship ended up being a comfort nursing relationship. She would be tired or upset or just wanted to cuddle, but she wanted my breast. And so we would end up just comfort nursing, and she would suckle and nurse, anywhere from a few seconds to an hour. And we would, sit on the couch and rock and cuddle and snuggle, and you would get your nursies in, and it was so nice. And it was wonderful, and it was such a beautiful thing that I got to do, and just a special experience that we got to share together. Now, Sophia is kind of coming to the end of her nursing. She doesn't really want to as much anymore. She's kind of lost the nursing reflex. But yes, we are kind of coming to the end of our nursing relationship. It was a beautiful thing that I got to experience with her, and a beautiful thing that she got to experience with me. Yes, and I'm really, really thrilled that, we had that together. She nurses now maybe once a day, once every couple of days. It's not often, but she asks to cuddle at my breast every day. That's what she's wanting right now, actually. She's getting a little tired. I just feel really blessed, and I think that it's a shame that more adoptive mothers don't know about adoptive breastfeeding or just comfort nursing. It's amazing. Babies want to nurse. It's a natural thing that they, God instills into babies. It makes me want to cry. I just feel really blessed that we got to have that together. Now, when I was pumping all those months, I didn't know when we would be matched. And so, I pumped in the hopes that my baby was coming soon. There was a lot of times that I really, truly regretted that when we had to travel back and forth that I stopped pumping, even though I didn't have a choice in it. I had a lot of guilt about that when she was born, and I wish that I could have nursed her without a nursing system, but I have no regrets either, because I feel like this is the journey that I was supposed to be on. She's obviously healthy and thriving and a happy little girl, but I know that she got everything from her formula that she needed, and she still drinks her formula all the time. We don't see any signs anytime soon of not being on a bottle. Jump, 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 jump. Oh, goodness. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh. But if y'all have any specific questions about my journey or anything else that you would like to know, be sure to put them in the comments, and I will make another adopted breastfeeding video. If you have any questions about the SNS or the nursing systems, I don't really feel terribly qualified to answer those. If I was you, I would get on Google, I would research. I would contact your La Leche League. They have a wealth of knowledge. I learned so much from them, and I loved our local group. They were just amazing for us. Well, we are going to go ahead and end the vlog for today. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey and for being interested in our journey. I didn't know anybody would even really want to hear about this, but I had a huge amount of interest, and I appreciate that. We love you guys. We will see you again